Well, hello and welcome. Welcome and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on this extraordinarily special, groundbreaking, life changing, mind altering edition of Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Thank you for joining me. I know I say this all the time because I am a big idiot, but I really don't have a lot of time today. I want to talk about CRISPR, ticker symbol CRSP, CRISPR Therapeutics. This is a gene editing company. Competitors, Editas, various others. Today, I just want to thanks, Jay Scofi. Appreciate that. But today, I just want to give you some data points. Like taken separately, they might seem insane. They might seem kind of scattershot. They might seem like they're, sort of Pepe Sylvia style insanity. But if you put them together in just the right way, with enough bath salts, you'll find that they are still absolutely useless data points. Now that's going to be up to you guys. One of the things about this channel is I so smart. I don't have a lot of book learning. So I try to give you, what I'm thinking, sort of my, look at the man behind the curtain, sort of pull it back and what are the market makers like really doing here? Like the narrative might be, oh, these stocks are risky, the technology's dangerous, this is just a sell-off. But you see, that's not the case. It's an algorithm working down a trend line. The stock consolidated at 63, then 56, then 47, then 41, then again at 37, trying to pop back up, and consolidate above 40, but had a little pump and dump. If you look at the chart, you see repeatedly on these sort of pumps that, back here we're going outside the channel, but they've remained in the channel for the last, 15 months or so. You see big green volume, and then it falls an equal amount on, less than half of that volume. So this is, to me, indicative of sort of a price fixing accumulation where they're walking a stock down. They don't necessarily need to make money just shorting the stock, because they're probably selling a lot of options and doing a lot of other trades that are too sophisticated for you and I, or at least for me. I'm sure some of you literal brain surgeons, engineers, folks out there can probably do these things in your sleep. But I'm not a complex trader. I just, pretty much do covered calls. It's sometimes cash secured puts. Sometimes I buy calls to gain extra leverage. I have a lot of leaps on different stocks, but I'm not one of these expert mechanics like an Uncle Bruce who can explain, the intricacies of, senior secured note deals and poison pills and kickers and, options and preferred, stock units. And just, I'm not the guy. My eyes start to glaze over if I look at a spreadsheet for more than, 15 minutes. I'm not teaching a course, guys. PhD in stupidity. Tuition is free. Just kick in the nuts. So anyway, stock down another 25 cents. Still kind of hovering again above that 41 level. They did the thing they always do in terms of the daily, which is just this waterfall. It was sitting pre-market 41.50. It was fixed there. Then they fixed that 41, and then the waterfall was all the way down below 40. Had this crazy recovery candle to 41.50, and then sort of consolidated, 40.80, 40.90. Popped back up to 41.50, was rejected there, and then it just had sort of this nice, I guess Loch Ness monster pattern or alligator about to crunch your nuts just above the waterline pattern, something in there. But the chart to me looks very bullish for a couple of reasons, because all the volume, the heavy volume is green. And also on the thing about these very, very controlled walk downs is they have to end somewhere. There has to be an end game to flip it at the bottom. Just another data point that may be completely useless to you, but if you look at the funds shorting CRISPR, the number one fund shorting CRISPR is Peak 6 LLC. They're, look them up. They're a Chicago-based outfit, very, very successful. And then this is the company I watch the most is Citadel in terms of shorting. When they start to flip, that's when well, not you, I'm not giving financial advice. That's when I want to get into a stock real heavy, because the next quarter or two is when that stock is going to stop the walk down, stop the short, stop the price fixing, and that stock is going to make a huge move to the upside. That's the only way all this years of effort really pays, because it costs money to control it. Yes, you can make money selling options. Yes, you can make money shorting the stock. But if you look at Citadel, their last filing in May, just last month, May 15th, they decreased their put by 48%. Okay, and their average price was $70 they're shorting from. Most of these other, Muyuks, they're shorting from like 42, or their average is 42, like peak 6. They're just shorting, I think more recently. But Citadel's the one who knows. They always make money. They make more money than anybody else. They run their market maker. They run the market. They're one of the market gods, up there with BlackRock and Vanguard. Susquehanna, another one to watch. I mean, I do respect Jane Street also, but they increased. So that data point doesn't fit my thought bubble. So I'm just going to ignore that. No, you should pay attention to them too, because they often do make money. But again, their average, they're short. They might have to hope for hope. Their average they're shorting from is 47, 48, where Citadel was from 70. So you can tell who's ahead of the game and who's, playing small ball south of the equator. A little slow pitch, if you know what I mean. And I think you do. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, mum's the wit. So anyway, take it for what you will. Citadel just decreased their short position by half. I'm not saying that's necessarily indicative of anything, but in my experience, when that happens, you look for the move. Looking at these short volume ratios, again, today, 71%. I'm just going to compare this with Editas, just for instance. Today, the short volume ratio on Editas was 30%. Yesterday, it was 40, 35, 34, 27, 42. Even their shorting, the highest it got was 61, and that was, down here, 74, 67. So they were shorting it a little bit back here. But they let go. They cover. That's what I'm saying with Citadel. They have a novel thing they do with their shorts. They short from high and they cover low. A lot of these other, truck stop all-stars, the shoe shine boys, these Johnny come latelys, the, peak 7, whatever it is, 7-minute EBs. I don't understand their strategy. They were just shorting more from 30, shorting more from 37. They naked short every day. They hold the stock down. The options activity isn't such that it's going to make up for their costs if the cost to borrow ever, bit them right in the ass like it should. I mean, look at this. Here, you guys want another useless data point? Let me give you another useless data point. This is for my members only. Here's the thing about my members section. All you have to do is have a members only jacket. And it's an honor system thing. So if you don't have a members only jacket, you tune out right now, you freeloading son of a bitch. You go down to a thrift store, you get your members only jacket, you tell them Danny Deals sent you. You support the economy, you get you a jean jacket, whatever you got, and you come back. So you're part of the club. I don't want any money, but you got to be a member. And Mitch Hedberg is like, I ordered the club sandwich. He's like, I'm not even a member. Like, hey, I like to slice my sandwiches diagonally instead of across. Oh my God, do you use 3 pieces of bread? He's like, yes, I do. Like, are you opposed to frilly toothpicks? I am not. So, let's form a club. I love Mitch Hedberg, man. Rest in peace. One of my favorite stand-ups. The guy was incredibly intelligent. Yeah, I think his comedy kind of belied his intelligence. But just an incredible guy. Substance abuse, depression. I don't know if that. Look at this story. I don't want to editorialize on the man, but God, I loved his comedy. Still do. that's the thing when you're an artist, you leave something behind. Did Mitch Hedberg died, right? God, I hope I'm not remembering. Every time I talk about somebody who I admire who passed away, they're like still alive. Well, I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. I get older and older. My brain is just a complete pile of shit. Used to be a steel trap. Now it's a shit trap. It's a fly trap. It's a big bag of hammers. Big rusty bag of dicks. My memory closely resembles. How could a bag of dicks be rusty? There's no iron in there. Come on, boy, think. It's all flesh. Plus, where'd you get a bag of testicles? Or a bag of dicks, whatever. What's up? Yeah, I thought so, J-Mac. The great Jeremy Miller joining us. Must be outside. Shades are in predator mode. Ice cream van mode. That's what they... Dude, those transitions lenses should come with an ice cream van. I'm sorry. I just can't trust people in those transitions glasses. When they come inside, they're always dark for like way too long. Like people are in and out of offices and stuff quick. It's like you come in, like who do you think you are? Cher? What are you, a rock star? You Mick Jagger coming in to pick up some paperwork from me? Freaking sunglasses on? Well, you want me to valet park your car? Maybe arrange some groupies or a red carpet? What do you want, Jeremy Miller? What do you want from me? I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. Not a lurker is here. Thank God. I always, like, I have a text I put and I'm ready to like text not a lurker. And when I'm trying to get this stupid broadcast together, nothing works right. And like people are coming and the phone's going and people are knocking on the door and everybody wants a check. Dude, why don't you take Zelle? You fuck stick. Oh no, can't take Zelle. Why not? Oh, it's apps and stuff. Nope. All you gotta do is give me your cell phone number. You can go down to your branch. They'll set you up. They'll juice you up, chemo slobby. Sure you can't take it? Oh no, no, no. All right, I'll just go fuck myself. Let me write you that check. Hey, can I assume they're gonna have problems down at the bank? Maybe give me a call or need to come down? You have an out-of-state ID, perhaps. An expired out-of-state ID, even better. They love those down at the bank. Oh, and it's a picture of your brother-in-law. Yeah, I don't need any more explanation. It's great. It's great. I'll just make it out to cash. Excellent. Excellent. Good to see you. Yeah, you do nice work when you show up. Drunk. Love my job. We love our boss. We love our job. We love Larry. Oh, a lot of us have tiny wings, low country. Don't need to be calling it out in public. Or public, as it were. I love working with the public. Some stupid video. Oh, I'm so stupid. What a turd. But so I'm looking at this stock. Okay, I'm looking at the composition of the shares. I'm looking at who owns the shares. I'm looking at these just insane short ratios. 71, 68, 63. I told you Editas, 30, 40, that's neutral. You know, when I look at SMCI, even when they're shorting it, 60 is super high. When they're shorting it to like 54, 53, 55. I mean, you know, 30 would probably be some covering. Again, these aggregate short people like, you don't even know exactly what this means or different things. I agree with you. I'm not saying this is some type of scientific barometer. You know, wrecked him, damn near killed him. No, guys, don't want to get into my proctology stand-up routine. Absolutely horrible. But anyway, guys, so this has been in the 60s and 70s for the last like month and a half. I've never seen anything like it on a stock that's not just like a penny stock or going bank. These guys have a strong balance sheet, an incredibly strong pipeline. One of the main criticisms of the company is that basically, the in vivo pipeline is in phase one. But I mean, there was just some big pop on Editas or Intelli. They had, a sickle cell protein that they, in preclinical testing in non-human mammals, it showed some response and the stock popped like 10%, in the pre-market. So the fact that CRISPR's drugs are in phase ones getting readout is like, that means they're further along. And, they basically are taking a two-pillar approach. It's cardiovascular and it's autoimmune. The CT40 or whatever it is, I mean, they just got incredible readout on like LDL. They got 80% reductions after one injection. Read the study, read it yourself. It's amazing. Like, well, it might not get there, for 10 years. Well, I completely disagree because, guys, AI is changing the world. Okay, if you don't see this, you were just not in the know. It's changing every big company, it's changing every industry. It doesn't matter if you're in trucking or surgery or logistics or, war fighting or what. AI is changing everything. And we're just barely scratching the surface. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because in the past approvals of drugs in phase one have taken another 10 years that it's always going to be that way. The world is getting smaller. Things are speeding up. Okay, if you can use AI to predict the behavior of these drugs and, make some of the testing virtual or what have you, I think it's very feasible that if CRISPR is sitting on this miracle drug, and guys, this is an interesting article. It's neutral. It gives positives and negatives. Excellent article. Atticus Analysis. He has almost no followers. Sunseeking. I highly, highly advise you to give this a read because it gives you the pros and cons if you want to invest in the company. It goes through his valuations. He's a hold on it. But guys, listen, here's the key for me. The two big pillars, what I talked about, because I just read the article. I'm like stealing this guy's verbiage. But cardiology and autoimmune diseases. So cardiology, they just had, this is an in vivo treatment. It does not require the chemo preconditioning of ex vivo treatments like Casgevy. Only a single injection is needed. Management provided an update on the trial process. Just listen, I'm not, familiar with all these acronyms and such. But we had data recently for one such target, ANGPTL3 with CTX30, that showed remarkable data, nearly 80% reduction of both LDL and triglycerides from a single injection. Listen to that. 80% reduction of LDL and triglycerides from a single injection. It beat even our own expectations of what this might do on the LDL front. So that's on the back of success for ANGPTL3, that we had other targets like LPA, AGT that we're going after. We're going to build a big cardiovascular franchise with the notion that a one and done CRISPR-based editing therapy can be lead to much better outcomes for these people or patients suffering from cardiovascular diseases or at risk for cardiac. And you go through you can go through also and talk about the second pillar, which is autoimmune, and their new chief medical officer, Nimish Patel. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that first name right. He just came over from Sanofi. I always, people tell me I'm pronouncing wrong one way or the other. But anyway, so he was running the autoimmune franchise there. And so it's a very high priority because they have, it's basically with the it fits in with their business. That's the only way. I'm not a hard science guy, so I don't really understand how all this stuff works. But the people that I read, that understand this a lot better, experts in the field, of course, that's who you want to listen to, not, big fat idiots on YouTube, but they are ahead of the pack. So other companies that they're saying, hey, CRISPR is not in vivo. CRISPR has, I believe, an extremely compelling pipeline in vivo. Why would a huge company not want to partner with CRISPR now on CX30? When you see that readout, 80% reduction in LDL and triglycerides. It's absolutely incredible. And then you go back to see who owns this company. It's not only ARC and all these others, and UBS has, recently increased. It's Bayer. Bayer owns 6% of the company. Vertex owns 6% of the company. Celgene owns 4%. GlaxoSmithKline owns 3.51%. So right there, 1, 2, 3, 4 huge pharma companies that are major shareholders. So if they make a partnership, they're in part making a partnership with themselves, strengthening their own position. They'll probably take an even greater position. Bayer and Vertex, as well as Celgene, they're all 10% owners. I don't think that's actually accurate. I don't think they're 10% owners. Public, because it's different things, different shares, adds up different ways. They have to do that filing. But they don't actually own. This is the percentage of the company they actually own. And these filings are not, necessarily 100%. The point is, the company is, heavily owned by big pharma. So the partners are there. It's not just Vertex. And I know Casgevy is very, very difficult. It's expensive. It takes a long time. The patient has to go in the hospital. There's chemotherapy preconditioning. But guys, somebody has to blaze a trail, and it's not easy. It's not easy to blaze a trail. But if you're going to have a first mover advantage, you got to get in there and you got to get her done. I look at all these data points. I'm like, why this company? You have a Nobel Prize winner. You have sort of this first mover and this crisper than ever. But, the cut and paste, penny a post trolls that you see on all my bulletin. And there's smart people who don't like the stock. That's fine. I have no problem with somebody who disagrees with me. It's going to be a long time. There is a lot of risk with adverse, safety events, stuff like that. One hospitalized patient, the stock probably drops 10% overnight. Just happened with Intellius and whatever. I'm always say that wrong. The stock dropped like 30 points. I should have flipped it, but I'm too slow. I'm stupid. Anyway, if you start to look at the days to cover, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Why this stock? Why did yesterday they net borrowed almost 1 million shares yesterday if they weren't going to sell them short? Why are they borrowing more today? Another 120,000. Why is the short supposedly since January 5th just decreasing? You see the short interest supposedly falling off a cliff from 21 million. They return, say 20, but they're borrowing more and more shares. Just doesn't make any sense. Boss checking in. Yeah, SMCI, yeah, Blazing Saddles is a great movie. Hi, Katie. What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Jesse? What's up, Justin? The great Princess J. Un poco manito. Guys, yeah, this one sometimes it stuck out to me with SoFi. I'm like, why are they have such a hard on for this stock? Why don't they let go? Why don't they cover at the lows? Why do they keep pushing down to the 4s and they don't cover? They just short more. They keep shorting from 5. It's like, it's too wound up. I mean, Kathy Wood was right. Kitty Woods. She's like, they asked her about Tesla. She's like, the more they short, the longer they hold it down, the further they push down. It's like a goddamn Jack in the Box spring. The further it's going to pop up, the further the snakes in the plane are going to pop out. It's going to go up further. It's the physics of stocks. For every, action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If you push something, that should naturally be buoyant, should naturally be rising, if you push it underwater, once you stop applying that force, once you stop spending all that money, once you stop shorting, once you stop price fixing, it's going to pop up out of the water, violently. At least that's what I see happening. Oh, but I've never seen anything like this where the short volume ratio is close to 70% for like a month and a half on a stock with a strong balance sheet, great pipeline. I mean, I see catalysts coming. It's not just the fact that they could make a deal with, any one of those pharma companies I just mentioned or any other pharma company. I mean, don't forget when Vertex, bought the last piece, I think it went from 50 to 60% of Casgevy. they put a valuation on it supposedly of what, 9 billion or something. I think they paid 900 million over time for that 10%. So that would be a $9 billion valuation just on that therapy, which is a niche therapy and very, very difficult to administer. So I think CRISPR really made out laying off that garbage to a certain extent. Hate to say that, but I like to tell the truth. People say I'm a pumper. I'm a chunky stock monkey. I don't know my head from my ass, they say. Oh, those kids. Oh, those scamps. Anyway. Nothing really going on Chime. I don't really want to chime in right now, Paish. No pun intended. What's going on? The great Naughty Lurker, best wrench in the industry. Israel just bombed Tehran. Great. Oh boy. I don't know if that's true. I have to verify. You don't go until we verify. Let me see how. Let me see if that's true. I don't know what that's going to do. I don't know what that's going to do to the markets. Let's head on over to the old Drudge. I don't know. I don't see anything about the bombing. I think somebody might be pulling my leg, pulling my third leg. Says they could attack. Did they attack? Does anybody know? Yeah, SMCI volume is down in terms of let's see, in terms of let's see. Okay, there's SMCI. Yeah, volume was light today. It was the same thing, just low to highs, sort of dragon's breath, Loch Ness pattern. Very similar to CRISPR on the difference is it didn't start, it just kind of started there. But they've been basically, if I'm honest, they've been fixing the price for quite a while now. I mean, it's been right in between this like 30 and basically 44. I mean, and really it's been tightening up. If you kind of take out these dumps, you're talking about, 37, 35 to 44. I mean, it loves this 43 number. If you look at where 44 is, I mean, it was consolidating here for, months before it fell off a cliff with Hindenturd. So the Hindenturd partnerships, the Brokeback Spears. I don't know. People always make those jokes, but they can't.
Wait. Time out. Time out.
The great Naughty Lurker here.
Time out.
We're timing out.
Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I can.
I just hacked in. Hey, everybody.
It's a great Naughty Lurker, folks. He's got an amazing green screen that takes out his beautiful, lush head of hair. So his wife makes him do that so the ladies in the audience don't get jealous. But if you see him in person, he's got a head of hair like the Anchor Man. Or anyway, go ahead, Naughty Lurker.
What's the first stock that Danny Deals bought?
First stock in my life?
First stock in your life.
You want me to tell you?
Well, you're going to have to tell the masses, of course.
Microsoft, baby. Microsoft. And I'll tell you the story of why, and I'll tell you how unsophisticated I am. I was working in the school bookstore, working double shifts, and I was delivering these. I would deliver computers, Sun Micros. I would have $1 million in the back of my van. I'd be delivering these supercomputers, but the thing I would deliver most was freaking Microsoft software, empty cardboard boxes that had licenses. And the student and university price on that Office suite was like $3,000 a person. I mean, this was when Microsoft Office was like everything. Everything was on that. And I'm like, these guys are selling empty boxes of what I thought was good old Missouri Air. Like I wasn't very sophisticated. And I was like, I am delivering 50 of these a day. Just at my university, which was a huge research university. Every single time I would drop off a bunch of PCs, a bunch of Sun Microsystem stuff, I would be dropping off 20 licenses. And I'd be like, That's $50,000 Microsoft just got for playing with their balls. And so I started taking my retirement that they give me for my job. I put every cent of it into Microsoft. So from the mid 90s, I'm buying Microsoft. All I knew, because I was delivering the stuff, people were buying it faster than they could make those boxes. And that's how I started buying it. I never looked back.
When did you?
What? Okay, we lost Not a Lurker. Anyway, likes to leave on a high note or a bald note.
Whoops. I don't know what happened there.
There he is again. He had to quickly shave his head in a brief intermission.
Jerry Miller's fault.
It's everybody's fault. I blame Obama.
So now I can read comments. Who's got a question for Danny, but he's only got 2 minutes?
Yeah, who's got a question? Be topical, be interesting, be clever.
When did you learn to start writing leaps and options? Did you teach yourself?
Oh yeah, I read a couple of books. I say I'm not a big options trader. I'm like a very simple investor. I try to pick the lows, and when I see these rat bastards holding down and churning a stock, I basically sell a ton of cover calls. I mean, I have very high share counts. I occasionally do get into like a wheel strategy, but only out of necessity once I'm wrong. You know, for the most part, I just like to collect my premium when it's flat. I usually don't sell options around earnings. I don't sell options when I'm expecting a lot of volatility, just because I don't like to take a lot of losses. You know, I don't like to take big hits. You know, they're like, sell options, you're going to win 80% of the time. My experience is probably more like 70, probably because I'm a little bit more aggressive on my strikes and different things. But yeah, I probably started, I don't know, early 2000s, but I really got a lot more into it during COVID. You know, I had more time. I've always worked multiple jobs where I didn't have time to be sitting on a computer, you know, watching ugly, fat, pear-shaped people on YouTube explain the intricacies of options trading. And so I actually learned a lot of it from YouTube. So honestly.
Okay. All right.
But I'm still no expert. I wish I had time to devote, because if I had time to devote to just really honing in some of these option strategies the way the wheel guys do, I would make a lot more money. You know, I could probably like quit my job and do that, but I don't have the balls.
Do you keep track of like what your DCA is, or is it all in your head?
Including options?
Including options.
Well,
do you ever keep track of it?
Like SoFi, it would be less than 0.
Right.
I mean, my true cost was getting below 5 because I went ham. You know, I sold the property when they dropped SoFi down to like 4.5, and I was like, okay, I'm putting all my money, you know, because that's just the kind of stupid shit I do. Yeah. But not literally all my money. I don't advise any, but all my sort of excess investable capital. I was like, you know, SoFi at 450 makes no sense. Anthony Noto is not a $4.50 CEO.
What made you start? And I haven't seen any good questions to the turds out there, but what made you start doing YouTube?
You know, I actually love, it was kind of YouTube, but I just, you know, I've always performed. I've always like kind of missed it, just been too busy with work. So I used to do some writing, stand-up comedy, whatever. And I actually ended up getting on, you know, Tanner had me on his show, and it was like, you know, it was pretty fun. So I was like, kind of built this like, you know, niche cult audience of ne'er-do-well psychopaths.
And now we're knocking on the door of 5,000.
Yeah, I think it was like how I got more into online with COVID, more time, more watching the market. You end up seeking out, you know, these psychos who follow these stocks. Like, who's that dude, Jimmy Chitwood? When I start to hear that little synthesizer come on, it's like trending stocks, dude. My endorphins kick. I'm like, fuck, let's go. You know, or like Stock Goat just starts talking about how SoFi is going to 80, like, and he's just like, you know, there's nowhere to hide inside his market. Like, I just love these guys. I'm like, you know, anybody can do this. It's free.
Did Princess J told you to get on YouTube so you could talk to stop.
Yeah, I mean, dude, she had to listen. She bore the brunt. Is like Princess J is like that one home that survives the hurricane or the fire. She's like still standing. Like she just takes a Cat 5 Danny Deals and somehow lives to tell the tale and somehow maintains her grace, her sanity. She's like, talk to someone else. Since you can't make a friend and you're completely insufferable. No, she did. She said, you know, you need an outlet. Like everybody's always asking you about stocks. Everybody, you're always talking about stocks. You know, like you work on this more than your real job. Like, you know, at least share it with somebody other than the, you know, drunk uncle at the backyard barbecue who doesn't have 2 dimes to rub together anyway. Like you're talking about, hey man, get into some of these CRISPR options. Is like
Katie wants to know what's the best financial advice you ever got.
The best financial advice I ever got.
Good question, Katie.
I think this is true of everything. This is true of everything in life. If you're trying to make a decision, calm down, pause, take your time, don't rush. If you think I have to do this right now, I don't care if you're buying a used car, if they put that used car salesman puts a gun to your head, you want the Hank Hill. You know, you want the guy who's going to give you some brochures for the Wagner Char King. No pressure. Like there's no pressure. And then at the end of the month, all his customers come back, you know, because they trust him, because they have the information. If you go into investing and you don't have the proper information, you haven't done the research, you haven't done the due diligence, you're compromised because you're weak. You're susceptible. You're susceptible to the FUD. You're susceptible to the deluge of misinformation that these turds like Citadel, you know, foist upon us. So the best advice I could give you, calm down, look at the data. Don't look at what they're saying. Don't look at the sleight of hand. Look at where the smart money is actually flowing. Look at what the smart money is actually doing. Never listen to the narratives in the press, the analysts. I mean, assume it's all lies. Assume it's designed to get you to do something that's going to hurt you with your hard-earned money. Because that's what the whole system is designed to do. Where Vanguard makes the most trading profit. Now, I know Chase is the biggest bank in the world, but they don't make a fraction of the trading profits Vanguard and BlackRock do, because these guys are the fucking market gods. They control everything. They control the prices, and you better damn well get on the bus and stop, you know, feeling sorry for you. Oh, I'm a bag holder. They play on your emotions. Take the emotions completely out. I know that sounds strange from a huge Karen, but but I don't trade on emotion. The more they hate a stock, often the more I love a stock. You know, they're like, sell your losers. You're a loser. It's a bottom. You're a bag holder. You don't want to sell stocks at the bottom. You don't want to hold winners at the top. We idolize winners. We want to be winners. You know, we want to be on that podium. So we want to own that stock. We want to own Palantir as it's cresting, the glorious, but with the smart money selling that at the top. They're dumping it right on your bald head, not a lurker.
Bald head. So we're both the same. We're both the same age.
I don't know what my answer was. But
what have you had a mentor? Have you had a mentor with?
No, I did not grow up with. I grew up in a house where our savings was measured in like change bowls. So I didn't really have like a mentor. I just started like reading, and like I said, I used to work in a bookstore, so free books, and so you know, I also studied economics, interestingly. So I'm formally trained. I'm self-taught, but I didn't have a particular. I have some great guys now who work with some of the mega banks who, you know, they're high up guys, and I'm able to bounce things off. And you know, I'm never out there on an island. I'm always seeking people who are experts in the field, smarter than me. I mean, if you think you can understand gene editing as a political science major, you're a fool.
Yes. So. What's your favorite book?
Oof.
And when was the last time you read a book?
God, it's been a long time. It's not on a screen. My favorite book.
Favorite book.
No.
And it doesn't have to be economics, doesn't have to be finances. You know,
Um,
what's a favorite book of yours?
the Intelligent Investor. It's a good investor investment book. I like classics like Les Mis. I mean, I used to my favorite like nonfiction is a book called News and the Culture of Lying,
Mm-hmm.
which sort of explained to me how false narratives work and how you have to like read how you have to sort of read information that's, you know, disseminated to you and look at it with the scant eye because it's often false and designed to manipulate your behavior. Like in the case of stocks, it's designed to basically have you lose money by, you
Well,
know,
it's almost like what Katie just texted is saying, the art of the steal.
part of the deal. Yeah, I
Steal,
mean, well,
deal.
yeah, they always interview that guy who really kind of wrote that book. He's a big like he's kind of a Trump critic, but he kind of likes Trump in a way. But I mean, Trump doesn't like he doesn't read like the daily briefings. He's not going to sit down and write an entire book. He
No.
just has like idea. That's how most like famous people write books. They just like put together like an outline ideas and they get somebody off in the nerdatorium, you know, who puts and then they edit it and stuff. So I mean, I've actually read The Art of the Deal. Like I didn't get a tremendous amount of value from it, but that was an interesting
I think reading first of all uses your brain, right? Because you have to think about the words, but then it's the free knowledge, like you said. Somebody that's come before you, and not necessarily the Trump, because that's just
he's a unique case. I mean,
right.
If you're looking to invest or something like that or build a business, I wouldn't be the model I would use because in a trillion years, you're not going to recreate that. Like your dad's not going to leave you half of New York, you know, 400 is like, it's just not going to, you're not going to do that. So you're much better off reading like the Value Investor, Intelligent Investor, you know, like a Warren Buffett book.
Yeah.
Anybody who's really done it, there's a lot of different ways people look at the market, but you'll find there's a lot more in common with those methods than there is just, they're all kind of looking for the same. Even when they're looking for growth, they're looking for value. Like you're looking for something that's undervalued. Your cash flow with these guys is everything. I don't care if it's like Ackman or Buffett. He's like, why do I want Coca-Cola? Because they keep making me money. They keep putting money in my. It's simple. The guy would be like, "Oh, he's simple." Charlie Munger's simple. Hey, man, guys made billions of dollars. Yeah. What have you ever done? Like, what have I ever done? How am I gonna lecture people that have been, you know, infinitely successful when I've done nothing? So that's why it's like take U-turners with a grain of salt. There's no requirements to get on here. All you got to have is a pooter. All you got to have is a kid who knows how to use a pooter. Great producer as well. Hey man, I got a boogie. I gotta finish my work and I gotta do some.
I know. I speak for everybody in here. Everybody appreciates the honesty. And I think a lot of people come for the break. You know, yes, we'll hear some finances, right?
I'm a comedian,
but
I'm a comedian. Like, I don't know anything. Probably half of you guys know a lot more than I do. I just look at all this data and I try to pick these like outliers that like I like the outlier guy, by the way. I hate his sports jackets and his stupid pastel shirts, and I hate his hairline. Like I said, I hate his tan, but he's fucking smart and he gives good advice. And there's very few U-turners that do that. Will actually make you money. Actually give you sound advice. Like, don't be a hamster. Don't be an emotional idiot. Don't say moon. Don't say bag holders. Just sell it higher than you bought it. That's how you make. He distills it down, makes it so simple. It's like price pays. He's like,
it's not the emotions. He's taking the emotions.
He takes every emotion out by giving you like a 12-point indicator check. That's what I do in my head. I'm looking at all those things. I'm looking at sector. I'm looking at trend. Now, often I foolishly try to buy the lows because I'm a bottom feeder. I'm a pooper scooper. I'll acknowledge that. Yeah. You dog owners know what I'm talking about, but not a lurker, the greatest producer, the greatest wrench in the business. Our hats off to him, no pun intended. But would like to thank you.
We appreciate what you do. and we'll always not financial advice to the turds out there. You guys have to do your own research.
Don't listen to fat people online. It's like, don't listen to any of these guys. We're like, oh, he caught it. I like Tanner.
No.
I love his show. He's a smart guy. But when I looked at new or something he suggests, I'd start doing, a ton of research, like before I would even consider buying, like a lot of the stuff he said, oh, I buy, like, I don't buy because I don't like it. It's like, dude, if you're investing and you're doing it just solely off what some guy on YouTube says, like, seriously, listen to Strongman, picking his eczema, and buy a fucking index fund because you are a moron. Like, you have to do research. Yeah. Paper trade, test, look at the past videos, see if they suggested a bunch of crap. See if they were portly and suggested horrible penny stocks that lost like 99% of their value. Yeah. Like this chunky stock monkey. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. I do a lot of stupid stuff. I say a lot of stupid stuff. That's why I keep saying don't listen. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to, be
that's all it is.
And if I have an idea, check it out. Think for yourself. You guys are smart. The
people out there just want to break from their daily grind and get the un poco bus. Here, look, here you go, guys. You see it? I don't have the mini water. This is not the mini water.
trying to show me up.
Poco for life, Katie and Carl. But anyway, you got to go. I got to go. I hear Mrs. Lurker's pulling in. So. But shout out to Princess J. Hi, Princess J.
You're the absolute best. Thank you for putting up with me. And we'd also like to thank Mrs. Lurker as well.
I'll come on and hack it every once in a while and pick your brain on something that's completely left field.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are asking me about these stocks, and people are like, "Oh, it's shocking. You don't know about their ER." I'm like, guys, I'm working 80 hours a week at other stuff. Like, I honestly, I'm not a stock junkie. I love stocks. I wish I had 40, 50 hours a week to devote to it, but I don't. I got to work, unfortunately. So
Katie says she's Poco for life. She can't go to Strongman. She can't do it. So stay here, Katie.
The guy's no dummy. He just drives around in a car in a wife beater with his camera pointed up his nose, just desperately scratching dead skin and hair off his shoulders. But that does not detract from the fact that he is a certified public accountant.
Yeah.
And he will tell you that over and over and over and over. He told Tanner in the course of one interview 68 times that he was a certified public accountant. I bet you don't even know how to read financial statements.
I remember that interview. Comedy. Pure comedy.
I have trouble maintaining a boner sometimes too, but what are you building a dossier on me? Like, hey, I'm not an accountant. Like,
hey, this is the family channel today. Family channel today.
Oh, no boners? Okay, no boners. No boners. I already said bag of rusty dicks earlier, so I think
I know you did. That was
the
before
cat's kind of out of the bag.
It's before I came on.
Not the pussycat, not a lurker. Let's not do it.
No.
Howard Stern, Howard Stern, 5-year-old double entendre. Anyway, guys, I have to go do something super exciting. I got to go buy a couple cases of bottled water.
So what? How do we say it? Peace out on
guys.
Poco
when you get down to less than one case of bottled water at the house, it is time to fucking panic because. If you drink a drop of tap water, you're going to drop dead instantly.
Well, I don't know what's behind you. You only have one bottle. Are you going to survive to Costco and get that hot dog?
Well, I'm going to drink about 64 mini waters before I go just to quench my thirst. All right, guys. I appreciate it, not a lurker. I got to go, man. I'll never
Peace
stop
out,
talking.
guys.
Have a great one, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Bye-bye.